in an endless race, always believing that the next conquest will finally bring us the peace we seek so much. It's as if we said, "When I solve this problem, then I'll be calm." But soon another one appears, and then another one. It seems that life is always throwing stones in the way. The truth is hard. If you hope to eliminate all problems to be happy, you will spend your whole life waiting. Happiness is not in putting out fires, but in learning to walk in the midst of them without losing your balance. That's what the Stoics discovered more than 2,000 years ago, and that discovery could be a game changer in your life today. In this video, I'm going to show you why you've never found peace trying to control everything, and how the solution lies in something simple but powerful: the dichotomy of control. A key that separates what is in your hands from what has never been. This view can transform how you deal with anxiety, fear, and frustration. And I'll give you a piece of advice. If you're tired of feeling that life pushes you mercilessly, stay until the end. Because if what you want is clarity, inner freedom, and real strength, Stoicism may be just what you've been missing. Take advantage and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content, because we are not here to entertain, but to evolve. Most of us grow up believing that happiness is just after the next obstacle. We think, when I pay off this debt, when I get that job, when I have that house, then I'll rest. But as soon as we solve one problem, another one appears. It's like an infinite treadmill which never stops. This cycle is treacherous because it convinces us that peace is always delayed. We live in an almost happy way, as if life were a game of phases and the prize was always at the next level. The problem? This prize never comes, because life does not fail to present new challenges. It's like trying to dry the floor while the tap is still running. The danger of this illusion is that it makes happiness a hostage to the unpredictable. There is always a boss at work who does not cooperate, an unforeseen health event, an unexpected bill. If your well-being depends on the total absence of problems, you will always be vulnerable. It's like trying to build a house on top of quicksand. And it is precisely at this point that Stoicism comes in as a light. He shows us that it is not by eliminating problems that we find peace, but by learning to position ourselves in front of them. The secret is not in winning every battle, but in learning which battles are worth fighting. And that brings us directly to the first great Stoic key. The Stoics discovered something simple but revolutionary. Not everything is in our hands. This perception seems obvious, but if it was so clear, we wouldn't be so anxious trying to control the uncontrollable. The dichotomy of control is like a map that separates territories. On the one hand, what depends on us. On the other, what we can never change. Think with me. You can decide what to say, but not how the other will interpret it. You can choose to study, but not control whether the test will be easy or difficult. This understanding changes everything, because it frees you from carrying weights that were never yours. It's like ceasing to row against the current and finally sailing with the flow. This division does not mean passivity, on the contrary. It means directed action. By realizing what's really within your reach, you can invest your energy where it bears fruit, without wasting strength trying to hold the wind. The wise man does not waste time cursing the storm. He learns to adjust the sails, and it is at this point that life begins to gain clarity. When you understand what depends on you and what doesn't, the mind becomes lighter, anxiety decreases, and the heart finds space to rest. This is where the true Stoic practice begins, and we will soon see how to apply it in your daily life. Many people freeze because they believe they need to control absolutely everything to feel safe. But life doesn't work like that. And guess what? This is not a problem. In fact, it's a relief. Recognizing that we don't have mastery over everything is like dropping a backpack full of rocks that we carried without realizing it. Imagine someone trying to hold on to every drop of rain during a storm. It is impossible, tiring, and useless. This is the same feeling of those who try to control other people's opinions, the fate of circumstances, or even the future. By letting go of what is not in your hands, you make room to take care of what you can really transform: your choices, your attitude, your discipline. Accepting this reality does not mean giving up. It means emotional intelligence. It is understanding that you don't need to have all the answers, that you will not always have control of the result, but you can control the way you walk to it. This is maturity, it is serenity, it is real strength. So the next time you feel the pressure of the uncontrollable, take a deep breath and say to yourself, "I do my part, the rest doesn't belong to me." This simple phrase can be a shield against anxiety and a powerful reminder that life does not require perfection, but presence. Think about a job interview. You can study the company, prepare good answers, train posture, and even choose a suitable outfit. All of this is up to you. But there is no point in spending energy trying to control if the recruiter will be in a good mood, if there will be more experienced competitors, or if the vacancy already has a favorite. That's simply not within your reach. What Stoicism teaches us is to focus on what is in our hands. You can decide to arrive on time, take a deep breath before entering the room, and present your best version. If even so the result is not as expected, you have not failed. You have just faced a scenario that was never under your control. This thought takes a huge weight off my back. How many times have you come out of a situation mulling over what you could have done to change something that didn't depend on you? This is like trying to row against a mighty river. The wise understand it is not the boat that decides where the wind blows, but it can adjust its sails. So, when living experiences such as an interview, a presentation, or any decisive moment, remember, victory is not only in the result, but in giving your best within what depends on you. The rest is up to life, or as the Stoics would say, fate. There is a clear difference between the wise and the ignorant. The ignorant spend energy trying to hold back the wind, believing that with effort they can master the uncontrollable. The wise man, on the other hand, understands that fighting against the inevitable is wasteful. Instead, he uses his energy to strengthen what is within his grasp. His posture, his choices, his character. It's like someone who, instead of cursing the rain, decides to use an umbrella. It sounds simple, but how many times do we spend our lives complaining about the climate, the economy, people's behavior, as if our words will change these things? This is true ignorance, expending strength where there is no possible result. The wise see the essential. He knows that by taking care of his own interior, he gains a freedom that no one can steal. Because when you master yourself, it doesn't matter if the wind blows against or for, you find ways to keep sailing. This is practical wisdom, not classroom philosophy. So the lesson is clear. Stop wasting energy trying to command what was never under your command. Instead, focus on strengthening your mind and disciplining your attitude. The wind will blow anyway, but the way you adjust the sails is what decides your fate. Much of the pain we feel comes not from the facts themselves, but from the way we react to them. When we resist reality, we create an internal struggle that is impossible to win. It's like trying to push a wall with all your might. You just get tired and the wall stays in place. Imagine someone stuck in traffic. The car stopped, the clock ticking and the anxiety increasing. Traffic itself does not cause suffering. What hurts is the revolt. This could not be happening now. I will lose everything because of this. It is mental resistance that transforms the neutral fact into emotional torture. The Stoics saw this trap and taught us that by accepting reality as it is, we find serenity. Acceptance is not passivity but clarity. You don't control the traffic, but you control your breathing, your music, your patience. This choice completely changes the experience. The sooner we understand that suffering is not mandatory, the faster. We gain strength to face challenges. Pain may even be inevitable, but suffering is born from the story we tell about it. And if we change history, we also change our lives. Accepting reality is like stopping fighting with the tide. While you insist on swimming against the inevitable, you wear yourself out, get frustrated, and feel like you never get out of place. But when you decide to flow with what you can't change, you discover a new energy to deal with what's really within your reach. Many people confuse acceptance with resignation. That's not it. To accept is not to cross your arms, but to open your eyes. It's saying, okay, this happened, I can't change. So what can I do now? This simple mental adjustment takes the weight off the why me and sheds light on how do I move forward. A practical example, someone receives an unexpected diagnosis. Fighting reality will not erase the report, but accepting allows you to focus on treatment, food, faith, and attitudes that strengthen. The struggle changes direction, not against the fact, but against the way of surrendering to it. And it is at this point that the suffering begins to lose strength. Because you realize that it is not born from the event itself, but from mental resistance to what already is. When you let go of this losing battle, you find peace in the present and the courage to face what lies ahead. When you understand that not everything depends on you, an inevitable question arises. So where should I focus my energy? The Stoic answer is clear. What you control, your character, your choices, your habits, your discipline, that's where the real transformation lies. Every small decision, repeated on a daily basis, shapes who you become. Get up early, keep your word, take care of your body, keep your mind clear. These are simple attitudes, but they build an inner fortress. This is how virtue is achieved, not in grandiose speeches, but in constant practice. The Stoics saw virtue as the only true wealth. Because no one can steal it from you. They can take away money, position, even physical freedom, but never their integrity and discipline. This is entirely under his control, and it is precisely what defines his strength. So, instead of expending energy trying to control the external world, invest in polishing yourself as a human being. Make discipline your armor and character your sword. In this way, each obstacle becomes a training ground to strengthen your virtue. The Stoics had a powerful expression, amor fati, which means to love fate. It's not just about enduring what happens, but about welcoming each event as a necessary part of the journey. It is to look at difficulties not as enemies, but as hidden opportunities that shape your inner strength. Does it sound strange? Imagine someone who loses a job. The common reaction would be despair or revolt, but amor fati invites us to see, this is also part of my path. What can I learn and build from here? It's not naivety. It's courage to turn stones into steps. This view does not put you in the position of a victim, but of a protagonist. You go from asking, why did this happen to me, to thinking, how can I use this to become stronger? It is a radical reversal. Life ceases to be an enemy to be fought and becomes a master to be heard. When you learn to love even the blows of fate, you discover a rare freedom. Nothing can truly break you. Every fall becomes a workout, every loss a lesson, and it is in this spirit that true resilience is born, the ability to grow even in arid soil. Many believe that freedom means doing everything you want, without limits. But the Stoics show us the opposite. True freedom is not outside, it is inside. This is when you are no longer a slave to the impulses, uncontrolled emotions, or opinions of others. Think of someone who explodes with anger over anything. Someone is not free. He is a prisoner of his own fury. The person who can take a deep breath, choose his words and act calmly does experience freedom, because she commands herself instead of being dragged along by circumstances. Internal mastery is like training a wild horse. In the beginning it takes work, requires discipline, patience, and even some falls. But with constancy, you gain control, direction, and strength. So it is with the mind. When you discipline your thoughts and emotions, you become the rider, not the horse. This inner freedom is invincible. The world may try to trap you physically, but it cannot imprison your attitude, your choice of how to react. As Epictetus said, no one is free until he masters himself. That's the secret to living with dignity and courage, no matter the storm. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, had all the external power one could imagine. Still, he wrote himself Stoic reminders, because he knew that true government begins within one's own mind. He could not control wars, betrayals, or diseases, but he could control how he reacted to all of this. Epictetus, on the other hand, was born a slave. It had no wealth, no status, no external freedom. And even so, he became one of the greatest masters of Stoic philosophy. How? Because he understood that no one could chain his mind, his discipline, and his choice to live in virtue. These two examples show that it does not matter the social position, the circumstances, or the time. The principle is the same. Happiness and freedom do not depend on what happens outside, but on the strength built inside. On one side, an emperor. On the other, a former slave. Both found the same truth. When we look at them, we realize that there are no excuses. If Marcus Aurelius managed to maintain serenity, ruling the most powerful empire in the world, and Epictetus managed to be free even in chains, then we can also practice these principles in our daily lives. In the end, life doesn't ask you to control the world, because that's impossible. What she asks is that you learn to control yourself. That's where the victory lies. When you understand that you don't have to be master of the wind, just commander of your own sail. To be a Stoic soldier is to live with purpose, knowing that every obstacle can be training, every loss can be a lesson, and every pain can be transformed into strength. The battle is not against fate, but against your tendency to want to fight the inevitable. The secret is to strengthen yourself from the inside out, to make discipline your armor, virtue your compass, and serenity your shield. With that, nothing external can really break you, because even if the world is in chaos, you can carry peace inside. So remember, happiness is not in erasing problems, but in learning to face them with courage and clarity. To be a Stoic soldier is to march through life steadily, ready for whatever comes, because you have already conquered what no one can take away: yourself. Now that you've come this far, the question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you continue to let every problem steal your peace, or will you train your mind to focus on what you can really control? The decision is in your hands, and that's precisely where your strength lies. Think about it. How many times have you suffered more from fear than from the fact itself? How many opportunities did you miss because you spent energy trying to control the uncontrollable? Maybe it's time to change this story and take charge of what has always been within your reach: your attitude. Don't wait for a perfect future to be happy. Happiness begins when you learn to master yourself and walk with serenity, even in the midst of chaos. This is the Stoic secret: inner freedom, daily discipline, and the courage to accept fate as part of your growth. And if this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will find more reflections and tools to become stronger and stronger inside. After all, the world doesn't need more people trying to control everything, but firm, wise, and unshakable people.